lots of people talk about other activities that have happened in other places in more modern times, but nobody in Montgomery, the visitors that we've had, or even the Montgomery Improvement Association, has really referenced the Whitehurst case with Bernard Whitehurst.
Society nowadays always saying, well, black men, young black guys don't have their fathers in their life. I was only 2 months old. My dad was taken away from me. Notice I say taken. And I say taken because he was murdered, by a police officer on duty, working for the city. And that right there hindered me from being raised by my father. And so I feel like the city should be responsible for that.
This my son, this is my father's grandson. And he looked a lot just like my father. When my father was killed, I was 3 years old at the time. My sister, Sheila, this is my oldest sister, and she was 4 at the time when he was killed. And we all are seeking some type of closure the right way from the city of Montgomery.
When he got killed by the police, he had 2 boys and 2 girls, Tracy, Stacy, and Baby, and me.
There's nobody from the police department or nobody came to tell me anything. My mother-in-law called me on the phone and told me that. I think that was real dirty there.
He was killed by a white Montgomery, Alabama police officer back in 1975, right back here.
The subsequent events related to his death in some way pitted the newspaper and the district attorney versus the police and the city over disagreements over what actually happened. And the controversy has to some extent continued to this day.
He was, gunned down, shot in the back. They planted the gun on him. The mayor resigned. The police director, public safety director resigned. A couple of police officers resigned because they tried to cover up what they had done wrong.
And this started with Bernard's request of the city to change this name from Holcomb to Bernard Whitehurst, I guess, Junior. Yeah, Junior, right.
It couldn't be that.
It was too long. And there is a process in the city that's run under the planning organization with Robert Smith. Is if you want to change a name, you make a petition, and then that petition is circulated through the property owners of the street. And there's a threshold. I'm not sure whether it's 50 or 60%. If they so desire, then we change the name. In this particular case, unfortunately, the property owners did not know the name.
That's wrong. I'm gonna stop you right there. I got the percentage that I need.
But
I had 2 people that were saying that they didn't want this. I got the percentage that I need.
According to Robert Smith, the percentage was not attained of property owners.
Well, we're gonna have to go back and check that out.
Do that.
But I know what I got.
At the end of the day, the resolution of that was to put at this spot, and I think it was kind of in the back of this property.
So that's the lie they said.
What's that? The reason the name was not changed is the requisite percentage of property owners was not obtained. And there were a couple of people that did come to the city council requesting that the name not be changed. But regardless of that, we still wanted to at least represent the spot that the shootings occurred from the past. The Whitehurst case has proven transformative in Montgomery and is part of the body of events and individuals that have shaped both the struggle for civil rights and the relationship between the Montgomery community and the Montgomery Police Department. Decades after Bernard Whitehurst was shot and killed by a Montgomery police officer, the Montgomery Police Department employs a case study of this fatal shooting and subsequent events to help officers learn about policing in a capital city that is both the cradle of the Confederacy and the birthplace of civil rights. On December 2nd, 1975, Bernard Whitehurst was shot to death by a police officer in Montgomery, Alabama. He died behind a house on Holcomb Street, running from officers who mistakenly believed he was the suspect in a robbery of a neighborhood grocery store. That grocery store was down on the corner. The facts were slow to emerge in this shooting of a black man by a white police officer, but investigations urged by the Whitehurst family, the city's daily newspaper, and the local district attorney reveal the following of that tragic event: that Whitehurst 32 did not match the robbery suspect's description, that he was unarmed despite police claims that they returned fire after being fired upon, and the gun found by his body had been confiscated by police in a drug investigation a year earlier and was placed at the scene as part of a police cover-up.
Okay, now the city have issued us 2 historical markers, but they have not yet compensated the Whitehurst family.
We are seeking some type of compensation from the city of Montgomery for what happened. I would say shame on the city of Montgomery. Recently, not long ago, something happened down the road in Lowndes County where this young person was shot, wrongfully shot, and a small town awarded this victim compensation for what had happened. We're here 40 years later in this city of Montgomery. Remind me now, I said a town, this is a city. And my father was killed, his life was taken. He was taken from his children, he was taken from his wife, he was taken from his mother, he was taken from his sister and brother, he was taken from a lot of loved ones, his cousins, relatives. And the city does not feel like they owe us anything, and that is not right.
These cities that's these people getting killed at, they do acknowledge that they done wrong, and they do give the family some kind of payment, you know, and you know they try to, you know, money is not gonna heal it, but it'll help.
It took me a while. I started getting Social Security later. My mother-in-law, Ida Mae, had to help me. She had to pay my bill for me until I started getting the income.
So the breadwinner was murdered.
My husband was murdered.
And
right.
the whole family has to support you after that.
Yeah, had to support me.
We know money's not gonna bring our dad back, but we look at here it is 40 years later, and the same things keep happening over and over and over. You have people in Florida, New York, St. Louis that been killed by police officers, and we sit back and look. Our dad has been murdered the same exact way, but in a different time frame when there wasn't no camera, there wasn't no Facebook, it wasn't people out here recording stuff.
I think I hear from the family that they feel that one measure of justice remains, and that is some restitution for the losses they've experienced. And we appreciate the measure of restitution that comes with this sort of sympathy and this sort of recognition historically, but I think that proper restitution would also give them some degree of compensation.
A great man once said, "Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere." That same man also said, No, we are not satisfied, and we will not be satisfied until justice rolls down like water and righteousness like a mighty stream." I hope that the words of Dr. Martin Luther King comforts the Whitehurst, and justice will one day roll down like water for this man.
And there may be other ways for that subject to be approached, and having a real big legal discussion about it at this moment is probably not the proper time.
Yeah.
But at a subsequent time, I mean, I've helped the family before on this issue. I'm willing to help them again, and I'm not looking for anything for myself. I'm just looking for them to get some degree of compensation.
I'm thankful for this, but it's still not going to be, we're still not going to give up, because the city has still not gave us complete closure with our dad's death. They admitted that they did wrong, but it's still some unfinished business that needs to be done between the city of Montgomery and the family of Bernard Whitehurst.